Her Opinion Show, the podcast you didn't know you needed. Real talk, bold truth, her voice, her vision, her rules. Let's get into it.
So most small businesses leave at thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table with unclaimed money. And we have someone here with us today. I'm so excited because she knows, she's the go-to person. At least she's full of knowledge to let us know about it.
She's the mother
connector. We are so glad to have Connie Leon with us. Thank you.
And welcome to Her Opinion Show.
Thank you. Yes. We've had you before, and we're so excited to have you back now in season 2. Yeah. And I'm sure you have even more information, more things to give us, tips to give us for, trying to find these things for small businesses, for entrepreneurs. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So again, my name is Connie.
Tell us.
I know.
My name is Connie Leon, and I currently work for Houston Community College. I'm a program director in continuing ed. But I also help run Houston Latina Collaborative. And then I have my own company called The Creativity Well. Yeah. And so I love the connection. I love resources and helping other people make those connections and find those resources that they need. So that's in a nutshell what I do. A little slice of what I do.
Well, I know what you do, but breaking it down is really hard. Yeah. We talked about that on the last season, and we went more into what you do in the Latino community. You help a bunch of Latinas, and that's why I love you. But small businesses of any sort, you don't have to be Latino, obviously, but you do a lot of things with connecting people, like to grants and helping them with their businesses to get money. Because we are always leaving money on the table, and sometimes we feel like, wait, I can't get grant money. Not my business. It doesn't make sense.
We have no idea where to go to or who to go to.
Right. And so, yes, I do a lot of pitch competition coaching. So I help people obtain that money, right, wherever it might be. And then also the resources, right? I know all of the different organizations that have these funds and that are either have grants or, just different competitions and different things where they can resource sharing, where they can come, where small businesses can come and obtain that funding.
Yeah, well, and that's important because, let's be honest, a lot of people don't do research. Yeah. And it gets draining sometimes when somebody's always like, but how? And it's like, did you even try to look? And even when you do
the research, like sometimes
it's confusing.
There's so many requirements, so many things that in order to get this grant, you have to be a grant writer, you have to do this, you have to do that, and people give up.
And you really don't. You don't have to be a grant writer, right? So, and I hate to say it, but ChatGPT is one of the biggest resources right now. I use it almost daily in everything that I do. And so, listen, it's not just about ChatGPT. You have to have a really good prompt, and then you have to be able to edit through that, right? Like, you are not just going to take everything from it and copy and paste it. That's not how it's going to work. You do have to have a little background in writing, but it's not super complicated. Once ChatGPT spits out this outline for you, it should be super easy for you to go in, enter your own information, make your edits, and then be able to push that forward.
Yeah, and listen, we're not here to give ChatGPT all the credit. Okay, slow your roll, sir. Where's my phone?
Yeah, no.
But it is true, because you could clean up your credit, start a new life, and all these different things with ChatGPT. We get it, but it has to be perfected still.
Yeah, no, it has to be edited, right? And even the resources, right? You're talking about how people don't do the research. If you just put a prompt into ChatGPT, it will give you a good set of resources. You, of course, then have to go and Google stuff and go to the networking events, go to these places where these resources are, and actually talk to individuals and make those connections and learn the processes, right? And that's really what it's about, is learning the process. Once you start plugging yourself into those networks and start learning how everybody operates in their spaces, then you can learn a lot more about how to obtain the different funding.
Well, I think one thing is what I learned, and I probably didn't know this maybe 3 years ago, is that there's workshops and these networking opportunities within your own city.
Yeah. Oh,
which I love that. You're always doing a whole bunch of workshops.
Yes.
Always giving resources.
And they're free, right? So even at Houston Community College, yes, there is a paid side. You do come, you take classes and you pay for them. But we have a ton of free resources,
and even
seminars,
when you're
and workshops.
there, there's a corporate sponsors that are there to give resources.
Yeah, we were just talking about, I partner a lot with Chase. They are one of our biggest sponsors and biggest partners, and they come in and they give workshops. We also partner with Wells Fargo, but for me, on my side of things, I partner with Chase, and everything is free. Right now, through my organization, Houston Latina Collaborative, we have a partnership with Chase and a co-working space called Sesh, and we've been doing monthly financial workshops for free. Anybody can come. You don't just have to be a Latina. You don't have to be a part of our organization. We put it out and anybody can come. And it's completely free. And you're talking directly to a Chase banker who can tell you the ins and outs about funding.
So in the city, I've just recently learned how many grants are available out there. And I think a lot of times we don't start within the city.
Right.
We just like start looking and look nationally, you know, and the city, you should always start with the city. But what I realize is it's not that complicated with the whole business plan and all that stuff. What it really boils down to is like, how long have you had your business?
Yes.
Are you in a certain district or county? Do you make under a certain amount? Do you have this many employees? Which is so basic. Obviously, you know right away whether you qualify for the main, you know, requirements or not. Do you work with a lot of those?
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of different organizations, everybody has their own requirements. So some of them are going to be either a 2-year business or a 5-year business, right? Obviously, the longer you've been in business, the easier it is, right? And you do have to have some kind of established financial record. So making sure that you really keep track. And as Latinos, as, you know, people of color, we don't really talk about money like that, but we really, really need to. You have to have your finances in order. That is the first thing that the banks, the grants, anybody's going to ask you about is show me a financial record of what you've been doing the last 2 years.
The financial record is a bank statement.
It can be a bank statement. Some people a spreadsheet, right, where you're keeping tabs of where your
income and expenses.
Income and expenses. So keeping really good track record of your finances is going to be number one. Being in business for, you know, a long period of time, and then sometimes you do have to have an employee, but it can be a solo business. Every grant, every funder is going to have different requirements.
And what if you're like, you do your profit and your income, you know, and then you see that there's a loss? Because a lot of people will feel like, well, maybe because there's a loss, they're not going to give me, you know, the funding for it.
So definitely you would want to talk to somebody, a financial advisor, a banker, somebody who's going to walk you through that. I have not yet come across somebody who has losses and been able to obtain a grant or has
even
applied.
breaking even.
Breaking even, I can totally see that. I don't know about the loss part. I haven't worked with anybody with that yet, but definitely I think that it's fixable.
Yeah.
Just because you don't have it or you're not there doesn't mean you shouldn't keep trying, right? Or you shouldn't try to find help to help you bring that up or to figure out what is going wrong in your finances. But definitely, even if you don't have the amount of income or the amount of finance stability or longevity, just keep working towards that.
But are they looking for profits? I mean, is that what they're looking for?
So usually a lot of the times with the grants, they at least want you to have started and have, some kind of a profit.
Stability.
Depends if it's a for-profit or a nonprofit, but stability, I think, is what it's about.
That at least you break even, like we were saying.
Yeah,
because a lot of people would get discouraged. And they're saying, if they have a loss, they're like, well, that's the reason why I need funding.
Right. And that's the hard part, right? Is because some of these funders and some of these grants, they're not going to work with you.
Have a bank account at least. Let's start there.
Yeah. No, it is. And definitely a business bank account, right? It can't just all come from your personal. So definitely learning about what those requirements are and then figuring out what you need for your business is going to be really important.
And what are some of the other requirements besides the financials that they're really big on?
That's really the biggest part, is having a business plan. A business plan is so important, and having that in place. And I know it takes a long time. It is a big document, and it does take.
So the business plan, how long should it be? Like 5-10 years?
No, so as long as your business has been going on, right? Okay. So at least 2 to 5 years.
Got it.
I think 2 to 5 years is the biggest kind of like sweet spot of requirement. Some of them are going to be 5 years, and some of them are like 1 to 2 years, depending on what the grant is and who the funder is. So your business plan should be a 5-year projection.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yes, so your business plan should be a 5-year projection.
Yeah.
And yes, working on the business plan. The big inset of that is going to be your finances. Like that's number 2. I I think those are really the two biggest things, is having those two things in place. Of course, being in an industry that is unique and that you are really providing a service or a product that is different from something else that anybody else is doing is really important. For example, my organization, Houston Latina Collaborative, once we establish ourselves as a nonprofit, it would be very unique. We're the only ones in Houston. We're the only ones doing what we do. We've already established partnerships and sponsors over the last 10 years, so it'll be easier, right? So definitely looking into those things, right? Business plan, finances, and your industry. And doing the research is really important. And
obviously, you don't get approved for all of them.
No.
I mean, you shouldn't stop it just because you applied for one.
Don't quit.
But I see a lot of them fall in Harris County. Do you think that, like, what do you do when you're sitting on the outskirts and you're in like Fort Bend or you're in some of these other places?
Each county has their own economic development center. Like Fort Bend has a really good economic development center. So those opportunities do come to Fort Bend. There's actually I think Verizon has a lot of grants right now in Fort Bend. Right. They also have some in Harris County. So it doesn't matter what county you're in, every county, and it's probably better and easier if you go out to one of the smaller counties, right?
How do you find it? Where do you go, like, to those smaller counties?
To the White House.
No, so I would definitely...
In your district.
I would definitely start with the economic development centers, right?
So there's the website.
Yes.
Research
so
it.
I found the Fort Bend Economic Development Center on Instagram. Their events started coming up, once you start going through like the algorithm and events and stuff start popping up, they started coming up on my feed. And so I started following them, and come to find out they do different networking events. They have just a lot of different events in place where you can get that information. And all, Pearland has an economic development
Missouri
center.
County.
Yeah. So all of the different areas, Pasadena. So the chambers are a big resource, right? Going through their chambers, economic development centers. Those I would think are the two biggest places where you should start to connect and start finding those events and those networking types of events. Yeah.
Well, it all makes sense. I mean, obviously, you got to do the work. You got to get in there and you got to figure it out. Don't get discouraged, because obviously you're going to get turned down. Not all of them are for you. Yeah. And then when you do apply for a grant, though, do they tell you, like, this is what you need to fix, or this is what you should be doing for the next time you apply?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Okay.
Sometimes you apply and it just kind of goes through. No, you don't
like
hear from
rejected and you have no idea why.
Well, yeah, or you just never hear back from them, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, yes, you will get a rejection letter, and they sometimes do come back with feedback. Yeah. I would also ask, right, if it's a funder or a direct connection that you might have with the organization that you're applying with, you can always ask, what is it that we can fix for next time. But they do audit sometimes and give you that information and that feedback.
So for 2025, what are some of the big grant givers?
Yeah. So right now I work a lot with Baker Ripley. They have a lot of different, like you said, they are hub zoned where you have to be in a specific area code. But Baker Ripley, Houston Community College has a few that they work with every year. Those I think would be for me the biggest two resources. There are a lot of other organizations. There's one called I Fund Women. I Fund Women. I have it written down, y'all, so I didn't forget. I Fund Women. Hello Alice is another one. And then there was one that came up.
I did go on Hello Alice website, and that's a great website. Yeah. There's so many grants.
Well, I Fund Women is also a good one. Yeah, and they do smaller grants, so that's a really good thing too. Amber Grant was one that came up, and
I've
then
heard of that one, yeah.
So the organizations in Houston to kind of be connected to that have this information are, of course, Houston Community College. There's an organization called Latinas in Heels, and they actually put out a list of grants last week. I was like, let me see if we have the same ones. And then, of course, like I said, Chase, I work with Chase. Latino Entrepreneurs Week, who I work with also, they sometimes have some grant and funding information. If you guys are connected with the ION, have you all ever been to the ION? Okay.
Yeah.
They have a ton of financial events almost every week, every month. You can at least go once a week and find some kind of financial information. And a lot of the organizations that go there also work with a lot of grants and funding. So
do you have to pitch to every single grant? Do you have to do a pitch, or do you have to just write?
So it's
apply?
different types of formats, right? I've done some where you do a video, where I submitted videos for a while during COVID. A lot of their stuff was video. And then there are some, the bigger, like more federal state grants, you are going to have to write a proposal. And then there's pitch competitions, which are totally different. So those are separate. So all the different formats, it just depends, again, on the organization and what they require. But
Have you been a judge for the pitching?
Yes, I have been a judge for the pitch competitions.
Have you heard any that you're like, what are they?
So I've been a coach also.
Okay.
I coach through Baker Ripley for the pitch competition. And yeah, some of them it's like, not that they're wild or anything, but more of like, somebody else is already doing that. So it's really important for you to do your research, right? It's not just about like, I want to put this together and this will work because you think it will. There probably is somebody else already out there doing it.
And are they pitching new business idea, or are they pitching a business already in the making?
Both. Yeah, with Baker Ripley, you either have a business or you want to start a business.
Gotcha.
So, but the research part is really important because I feel so bad, right? I had one client or one student last year, I believe, and they're pitching the whole thing to me, and I'm like giving them direct examples. I'm like, you know that so-and-so already does this. And so they're like, oh yeah, but we're going to do this. I'm like,
we're gonna do it different.
They do that
already.
Like, so do your research, really know that your industry is unique and that what you're pitching is unique.
So it has to be unique.
I mean, not necessarily, but you want it to have an aspect of uniqueness, right? My biggest part is having that personal story and that personal tie to your pitch, especially when it's an in-person pitch. Because of my background in writing and in blogging, that's one of the biggest things is having that storytelling side to your pitch, and just finding that connection to the audience is really important.
I mean, that for me, hearing anybody's story is always going to move you emotionally.
Exactly.
And I know a lot of times when you are pitching in front of the people, even though they're trying not to be emotional,
it's a big part. Yeah, the emotional part is a big part. Yeah, when we've done all of our pitches, so I always say this, I have all the winners right now at Baker Ripley.
Awesome.
All of my people that I've coached have won first, second, and third place in my last three coaching. Yeah, and so that's my biggest thing. I tell them, I'm like, you want to make them cry. Like this is where it's at, and they're going to give you the money.
What about the repeats? Like I've heard a lot of people getting grants over and over again, and for something like that's a pitch in a competition. Are this the same people coming back and getting the same grants?
Not necessarily. For the ones that we do, the pitch, I'm sure you can come in a second time, but all the ones I've had are brand new. But yes, so some of the grants are renewable. Okay. Right? So some of the grants are every year, and you can come back and send a proposal or pitch for it again. Okay. So it just depends on the grant.
Gotcha.
Some of them are one time and some of them are every year. That's why probably people get the same grants every year.
Well, you're a big resource for grants, but I know you do more than that.
Yeah.
So what else do you do?
So I do.
Like you have so many jobs. I know we could say them, but I know coming from you.
So my biggest thing right now is I do a lot of coaching, right? Either business coaching, how to grow your business. Obviously, if you're in a pitch competition and you need help with that, that's a big part of it. But then also I do a lot of branding and social media coaching. I also stepped into like executive coaching for women who are in executive positions and looking to like either get a promotion or move into a different industry. So yeah, a lot of different coaching, either business or professional, and then branding and social media is a big thing that I do too.
I'm sure it's a lot of stress.
It is. I mean, not all the time, but it's fun. I love to do it. It becomes stressful when I have too much going on outside of that, right? That I can't like fully focus on it because I have 2 kids and I work full time, but definitely because it's so fun, I love to do it.
Yeah. And I know you've gone through some personal struggles.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was just talking to somebody yesterday. It's going to be a year. So I had Bell's palsy last year in July. Yeah. And it was right in the middle of one of my pitch coaching series that I was doing with Baker Ripley.
So in the middle of...
No. I went to go speak at U of H downtown that night. And the next morning I woke up with Bell's palsy. But then that Saturday, it was like a Thursday, Friday. Saturday, I had to go and teach my class at Baker Ripley. And I actually showed up and my mouth was completely crooked. I couldn't even like hold water in it. And my entire class was like, should you be here? I'm like, I'm already here. Like, let me just keep going. So yeah, I've had a lot of stuff go on, but that's one of the biggest things in the last
Which is something that I admire because you have overcome all of that.
I haven't seen you.
And you haven't
stopped. I haven't seen any of that slow you down one bit.
I know people were like, you're not going to do this anymore. I'm like, yeah, I have to keep, I need to go to work.
But
like,
I mean, that is like the thing though about the resiliency and all of those things is like life has to keep going.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Can't, I mean, we're not rich. We don't
I'm like,
have
my
money
bills still have to get paid. My kids need to eat tomorrow. So yeah.
And life still goes on. And I got to strap cap on whatever's going on and, you know, get out there and still do what I have to do. Yeah. And that's just the way life works. And you're helping people in all of that process, which, no, you're a blessing.
Well, you have impacted so many people. I mean, there's people that are out there that if they didn't have you as a resource.
I haven't heard one person say one bad thing about Connie yet.
Yeah, they wouldn't have gotten the grant or success in their business.
Let her catch some money and she might be like, I don't have time. I don't have time.
Yeah,
there'll be signs.
No, I try. I definitely try to help as many people as I can. But on a lighter note, we want to end with some fun games. Yeah. And let's make, I mean, because grant writing and grants and all that stuff can seem stressful. Yeah. But so there's a game we have that's called it's like truth or myth. So basically what we're going to say is grant it or can it, meaning like that's a good thing or that's a bad thing. And so with that one, we're going to say. So
I'll start off.
Okay.
So you need a 10-page business plan to apply for most grants.
Okay.
Is that
granted or can it?
Like, is it truth or not?
So granted,
truth or myth?
No. It's a truth, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think 10 pages would be a minimal, like definitely. Because some of these grant proposals or you're talking about grant proposal.
So yeah,
business
it's a
plan.
business plan.
Oh, the business plan. So the business plans, they can be 25 to 50 pages sometimes, depending on your business.
Is that the minimum that they, whenever somebody's going to be reading your business plan, what if somebody's like, oh, I could do it all in one page?
No, you can't do it all in one page. But I would say the minimum is 10 to 15 pages because once you start explaining and expanding on each of your topics, it's going to grow,
and it has to be in detail.
Yes, you have to talk in detail about everything. So I'm working currently with two sisters. They own a charcuterie board company, and once we had like a little outline which was like 4 pages, and once we started going through it, I'm pretty sure they're going to get to at least 20 pages.
Did they have to like name every cheese and meat?
We haven't gotten to their menu yet. We were working on their finances and description of like their roles and their company and what they want, their vision for the next 5 years. So it does grow really fast. Once you start typing, it gets really big.
And especially if you want to be unique, you got to say why your charcuterie board is better.
You have to add those details. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so the second one is nonprofits get more access to free money than for-profits.
So I think we talked about this, right? Yeah. I think that's a myth. I don't think that's true. I think that as long as you have a good business plan and a good set of like what your vision is long term, your for-profit can make just as much money as your nonprofit. It's different types of grants for sure for nonprofits, and maybe the amounts are a little bit bigger sometimes. Because when it's a nonprofit, you're given it's a community, it's a community type of resource that you're probably going to do everything for free for the community, right? Or as much as you can with that grant.
Right.
So of course the money is going to be a little bit bigger.
How about government grants are the only grants worth applying for?
No, I don't think that's true. I think there's so many other grants out there, not just government, and I think that any amount of money, I would say, for your business is a good amount, right? I've always talked about, for myself, I want to create a fund that creates grants that are even $500. Because I think about like my small business during COVID. With $500 extra, like there's so much that I could have put into my business every month, right? So I think that even if it's a small amount of a private funded grant, it would go a long way.
Got it. Okay, so you need to pay someone thousands to find good grants.
No, definitely not. Like I said, we just talked about ChatGPT, right? Like you can definitely Google
before ChatGPT, I guess. Maybe
no, because you can also Google, right? Like you can also, and like I said, once you start plugging into these different networks, if you show up to the Ion on a Friday morning when they have their big networking events, you could probably talk to 2 or 3 people that have all the resources you need.
Got you.
Do they give it for free? Because a lot of people say, well, this is my information.
It depends. It depends, right? Like some people are gatekeepers and you're not always going to find somebody who's as open and as giving, right? But once you start, leaning into each community and learning the people in each network, then it becomes a little bit easier to talk to them.
Got it. So we're going to end with these last fill in the blanks. Okay. So the biggest mistake people make when applying for grants is
probably not being ready with like a business plan and their finances.
Got it.
The money is there, but people won't
look for it. You won't do the research.
Yeah. A well-written grant application always includes
good finances. I'm going to talk about that all the time because your finances are so important. I've learned that the hard way.
And I think for Hispanics, we really
Very
need
important.
that over and over again.
We have to put that in the forefront because we're not talking about it as much as we should be.
Exactly.
If your business isn't fundable yet, the first thing to do is
go back and do your research on like what it is that you need to make it fundable, right? And create that business plan. That business plan is going to be your lifesaver. Yep.
And last question. I wish more entrepreneurs knew that
these resources are free. There's so many free resources out there. How to write your grant, where to go for funding, who to connect with. It's all free. Like you do not have to pay people.
Well, listen, we're ending on that note.
Yes.
Valuable information.
I learned a lot today too.
Thank you.
And if you're out there and you want to know any resources, she does consulting, right? So reach out to Connie. Connie, tell them where they can find you.
So my personal pages are Connie Leon across everything. And then my business page is The Creativity Well.
Great. Well, until next time. See you guys
Thank
later.
you.
Bye.
Bye.